Field Trips features real field stories told by real ASCE members. This episode of Field Trips is sponsored by the ISFOG 2020 conference. More info at isfog2020.org.
Hi, I'm Sarah Waickowski, and this is my field trip. So I've been an Extension Associate at NC State University with Dr. Bill Hunt's Stormwater Research Group for the last 6 years or so, and I've had a lot of adventures and field trips as an Extension Associate. But I think my PhD project has given me the most interesting field trip of all. My project is focused on erosion downslope of pipe outlets, and I'm trying to predict the magnitude and the length of erosion that occurs. So in order to do that, I've had to assess 60 different pipe outlets across North Carolina, and these assessments require me to collect soil and vegetative data along the entire length of the channel, which means fences merely became suggestions in this project, and army crawling was a necessary skill in order to be able to collect the data that I needed. So I will say that no fences were harmed during this research project, and I always respected no trespassing signs. So one day, my helper Aaron Cartner and I are out in western North Carolina in a pretty rural area trying to finish up these assessments. And we were probably on assessment 55 out of 60. So at this point, we were ready to be done with the project, or at least the assessments part. And so we come across this site that we think will work well. And for us, for a site to work well, we just had to be able to safely pull the truck off the side of the road. And the thorns didn't have to be so bad that we couldn't cut our way through them. We had really high standards, as you could tell. So we're starting to assess this site, everything's going well, and we notice the channel is starting to get shallower, which is a good thing for us because that means that the channelization is almost done and we'll be able to get back to the truck sooner and to the AC. And so as we're rounding the corner, getting to the end of the channel, we have a really nice surprise waiting for us. And I won't leave you in suspense here. It was a really nice hunting blind. We had unknowingly trespassed onto an active hunting lease. And so you can only imagine the thoughts that were going through our heads as we see this hunting blind. And so we had two options at this point. We could either hightail it back to the truck, or we could do our last assessment, get the data that we need, and then hightail it back to the truck. And so we decided that we were going to set up camp underneath the hunting blind because that was the safest place to be at a hunting lease, of course, and finish collecting our data. So we set up camp underneath the hunting blind, and I'm moving so fast I don't think my feet are touching the ground, and no one has ever accused me of being fast before. So thankfully we were able to get all of our data, and it wasn't until on our way back did we notice all the signs that we should have saw on our way into the woods, that we were on a hunting lease, and those signs were the empty shotgun shells and the no trespassing signs. And so thankfully we made it back to the truck safe and sound, although my water bottle here kind of got into a little bit of an accident and met the soil core hammer as I tossed it over the fence before I army crawled underneath said fence. And so a couple of things that I've learned from this field trip are not only do I need to check the weather before I go out in the field, but I also need to check to see what's in hunting season. And I need to be more proactive about looking for shotgun shells and no trespassing signs. So I hope you've enjoyed this story, and I'm Sarah Waickowski, and this is my field trip.
Field Trips is a production of ASCE and the Geo-Institute.